Welcome back to Talent Hub Talk. Today's episode is for those people out there who are currently struggling to find a new role in the Salesforce ecosystem. Firstly, if you are someone that is finding it very difficult at the moment to find a new job, I just want to say the market is tough. You are not the only person. This isn't a reflection on you. It's just the reality of the market right now. I know it's a challenge. Stick with it and get some support from people you know and trust. I wanted to record this episode to give some insight into what I would do if I was in your shoes and was looking for a Salesforce role right now. Searching for a job is a full-time job in itself. It is mentally challenging, can be disheartening, and depending on your circumstances, it can be very, very stressful. Now, this episode is really for people who have already decided that Salesforce is for them. They may have already worked as a Salesforce professional before, or at least invested significant time in learning the platform and maybe getting certified. It's not really aimed at people who are just starting to think about working as a Salesforce professional, because in the current climate, for most people, there is going to be a lot of work that needs to be done learning the platform before you can start actioning the steps that I'll mention today. So if I was looking for a new role as a Salesforce professional and was finding the market challenging, these are some of the steps I would take. First and foremost, I would make sure my house is in order. I would initially spend time going over all of my documents and profiles, my CV and my LinkedIn profile, my profiles on job boards, things like that, and making sure that they are absolutely optimized, they're professional and up to date. This sounds very obvious, but a lot of people I see and speak to, and they're looking for jobs and they have subpar LinkedIn profiles, CVs that they initially wrote several years ago that they've just been updating as they go, just with the most recent role updated, a trailhead profile that's not linked to the right email address or not easily found. These are some real basics that people need to go back and refresh and make sure that they're up to date, but not just up to date with the most recent job, but that everything has been updated to make sure that it is fit for purpose. You go back through old roles, you make sure that you're highlighting the right things, you make sure that it's written in a way that you're proud of, it's professional, and it's really putting your best foot forward for anyone that's reading it. Often your CV or LinkedIn profile is the first thing that people see when you make an introduction or an application. So it should be absolutely crystal clear what you do, what you've achieved, what kind of roles suit you, what your strengths are, etc. The other thing that I think people overlook: when was the last time you went out and asked someone to write a recommendation on your LinkedIn profile? Such an easy thing to have done. Lots of people you've worked with before will be happy to do that if they value you as a colleague or someone that has reported to them in the past. I really recommend going out and updating your LinkedIn profile by getting some people to recommend and endorse you. I think that can definitely help make your profile stand out for anyone that's reviewing it. Now, I'm not going to go over how to write your resume in today's episode, but if you are looking for some tips in this space, then I recommend heading over to the Talent Hub website and reading one of the blogs we've released on this topic. Once you've gone through all of your documents, all of your profiles, your CV, perhaps if you even write cover letters, are you just sending out the same cover letter with a few bits changed each time and things like that? Once you've gone through them, I'd share them with contacts, people that you trust, get some feedback, ask what impression they get when they read your CV or LinkedIn profile, make sure it's coming across how you hoped it would. So yeah, that's the first thing. Make sure all your house is in order before you start sending your documents, your profiles to anyone looking for a new job. My next thing I would do is I'd lean on existing networks. So now that everything is in place and I'm happy with my CV, LinkedIn, etc., I'd go through as many ex-colleagues and managers that are relevant, e.g. they are Salesforce professionals now or have managed Salesforce professionals either now or in the past. And I'd reach out to them and let them know that I'm in the market for a new role. I'd ask them if they know of anything suitable right now, or if they could keep me in mind for anything that comes up. These people have seen your work. They trust you. Their current employers are likely to trust them. So a referral from them is very likely to be helpful for you. Now, if you have asked someone to keep you in mind for roles within their team or within their company, and then you see that the company are hiring for a role, don't just presume that person actually knows about that role. some people will be working in massive companies, lots of different Salesforce squads. So yeah, if you do see a role at a company where you've asked someone to keep you in mind for, follow up with them, mention the role, ask them if they can make a recommendation. Don't just presume that they know about the role and have overlooked you. Now, I am a big believer in what goes around comes around when it comes to employment. So remember, next time you are in a role and an ex-colleague isn't, think of ways you can help them, and keep an eye out for roles within your company. Who do you know for that might be looking for a job that you can recommend? If we're all helping each other, it's going to be better for everyone in the long run. The third thing I'll do, and this is the one I feel is most often overlooked, I'd take control of my job search proactively. So most people I speak to who are getting disheartened by their job search are mostly frustrated because they're applying for roles and not hearing back. People often comment it's like their CV has gone into a black hole and nothing ever comes of an application. So here's what I would do rather than just applying for a role on a job board and hoping for the best. Firstly, I would connect and engage with every specialist recruiter that covers my market. I would want every single recruiter in the market to know who I am, what I do, and what I'm looking for. I would send them my CV, ask their feedback, talk about the market with them, and really try to build as much of a relationship as possible. I would then check in with them weekly and ensure that I am top of mind for any roles that come up. I then map out companies that I feel could be a good fit for. Based on my previous experience, I would try to find as many companies as I can who I feel I could be a suitable hire for. Now, I know you are probably thinking that you could be a good hire for lots of different companies, but in this exercise, I would be looking for companies that really make sense and try to make it as targeted as possible. Now, this could be down to the industry they are in or the Salesforce products they have, etc. I would try to make this as targeted as possible, and then I would be looking to map out their Salesforce team. Who is the manager? Are there other people already doing the role I would be looking for? Has someone just left? I would then use this information to make direct introductions, whether you can see they are hiring or not. You'll be surprised by how many roles don't ever actually make it onto job boards and are just hired from within people's networks internally within a company or through direct introductions or applications that are made. I then look at live job vacancies, and obviously I would apply. Now, I would apply, which is, I guess, semi-proactive, but applying for a role in itself isn't going to always bring you the results you want. So after I've applied, I'd also be looking to directly follow up with people in the business who could be playing a role in the hiring process. Now, often I hear people comment that they've seen a role on LinkedIn, let's say, and that 200 people had already applied for this role. And then they feel disheartened that, what's the point in applying if 200 people have already applied? How many of those 200 people do you think have then made a direct introduction to the potential Salesforce hiring manager within that team? How many people have sent a message to show why they're keen on the role and why they feel they'll be a good fit? Let's say even 10% of people did that, which is very unlikely. I would say, more like 1 or 2% perhaps. That's still only 20 people that have made that direct application, direct introduction. So like I said, very few people will actually do that. And it's a really, really good way of standing out and actually cutting through that black hole that is the frustration to a lot of people and going direct and just trying to build some rapport, build a relationship and get your CV to the top of the pile. I'd keep on top of my LinkedIn newsfeed for leads and potential opportunities to uncover new companies that may be hiring. Now, I know you're very likely not a LinkedIn search expert. I'd look at different platforms like YouTube or online articles around how you can use LinkedIn to search for certain things. Obviously, people know often you can search for people, you can search for jobs, but you can also search for posts. And one of the things I'd be looking to do is obviously keep an eye on my newsfeed, see who's moving jobs, where they're moving to. Are they moving to a company because there's a new project there? So that's a way of looking for leads that way. But I would use the search function for posts as well. I'd look for Salesforce and then also the city I live in. So in my case, it would be Salesforce and Sydney for posts. And often there you can see that hiring managers have shared a post themselves highlighting that they're looking for someone in their team. And it might not even be linked to an actual job post on LinkedIn. It could just be a post where the manager's saying they're in the market for someone with certain skills. But you'll also catch some information around what's happening in the local market, in my case, in the Sydney market, information that you might not necessarily have seen on your newsfeed unless you go looking for it. So there's definitely a way of finding some more leads or information that can be really valuable in your job search. Next up, what I would do is keep building the network that I have, and building that further and being part of the community. So, like I said at the beginning, looking for a job can be a full time job in itself, but it's really important that you're still going to Salesforce user and community groups. Are you engaging with as many people and new people as you can? Are you sharing your knowledge with others? Having a network is great, but you should never stop building it. I've seen so many people over the years who have found roles through contacts they have met and grown relationships with at Salesforce user groups. User and community groups are always looking for presenters, and there are more groups happening online than ever before. So you don't even need to be in the same city. Is there something you have strong knowledge on, or even a journey that you're proud of that you'd like to share? These are really, really great things that people are always looking to hear about at user groups. It's also a way of really showcasing your soft skills, and you never know who's going to be listening. So both going to user groups and community groups is a way of building your network, but it's also a way of showcasing who you are and what you're about. Remember, though, that networking isn't just about taking, but also giving. Who are at these events that you can help? Do the organizers need assistance? What you put in, you will get out. Next up, keep actively learning and developing my skills. So it's really important that in this time you're in between roles, that you are keeping up to date with Salesforce and making sure that you're not missing anything. Are you reading release notes? Have you maintained your certifications? Is there a certification you've been putting off? Now's a great time to get that. Are there areas of Salesforce you haven't had time to explore but always wanted to? Have you received feedback in the past on areas you need to improve? Now, a lot of people are going to jump on Trailhead for all of this, but remember there are other things that you could be doing and areas you could focus on to develop that aren't necessarily on Trailhead but could complement your Salesforce skills. I know people that have enrolled in Toastmasters to improve their public speaking. I know others who have enrolled in BA training outside of Salesforce, so they have a more structured way of taking requirements. Think outside the box and look at what may be holding you back in previous roles and previous interviews, and look at ways of sharpening those tools. Now really is the time to get across all of your upskilling and enhancing your skill set. But also, this is a great way of using your upskilling and your learning journey to create and build a presence on social media platforms like LinkedIn. So I would be documenting everything I'm doing to learn and upskill during my time off of work. And I'll be posting about it on LinkedIn to make sure that people are continuing to see my name. They're linking me with the type of work that I want to do, and they're remembering that I'm in the market. Upskilling and then posting online really does kill two birds with one stone. And it's really learning while being seen and heard online. Finally, what I'd be doing is researching and role playing before any interview that I go to. So when you do land an opportunity to interview, make sure you grab it with both hands. Research, research, research. What does the company do? How do you think they are using Salesforce? What are the current challenges that a business like this is likely to be facing? How can you find out about the person you are speaking to? What can you find out? Where have they worked before? Do you know someone they know? Do you have similar interests that could break the ice? Spend plenty of time preparing and making sure you go into the interview with as much information as possible. Next up, I would be looking to role play the interview with a family member, friend, ex-colleague, anyone you feel will be willing to help you out. You can even plan the questions yourself, but just get comfortable answering them in a structured way. Look online for some examples of structures like the STAR technique and really make sure you can deliver your answers in a structured way, getting to the point with enough detail and answering the specific question you are being asked. Now, the one that I think is most overlooked from the tips I've given today is the proactive applications of jobs, and proactively building your network with direct applications rather than just hiding behind a job advert. Job boards can be awesome, but they're not a job search strategy in themselves. They're part of that strategy. So it's really important that you're not just sending off applications and hoping for the best. It's quite a daunting thing to do, but I promise that, it will make you stand out as long as you do it in a professional way and you make sure that you're not saying things you don't want to say or being brash or not respecting the hiring manager's time or not being gracious in your message. I really do think that can make you stand out in the market. And there really is nothing to lose at the moment if you're sending lots of applications and not hearing back. Just try to do a bit of research, try to find out who the hiring manager is, who the talent team are, and really make yourself stand out by putting your best foot forward and messaging them directly. What's the worst that can happen? Like I said, the market is tough right now. especially for some people. I know some people have been in the market for a while looking for a role, and it just doesn't seem to be turning for them right now. But keep at it, keep learning, and keep building your network. Be proactive. Make sure that all of your documents, your CVs, your LinkedIn profile, your any application you're making is very strong. It's professional. You've gone over it in detail, and anytime you hit send on that application, you know that you've put your best foot forward, because everything you are sending is a really, really great reflection on who you are, your skills, and what you're looking for. Obviously, I'm happy to help anyone that needs some further clarification on any of these points or just wants to chat about the market and their career. You know where I am. Good luck with your job search. And yeah, please tune into the next episode. We've got more coming through.